Hello, welcome to the European Open Briefing for Monday, January the 23rd. I'm Rafi Boyadjian, currency analyst at xm.com, and we're going to be looking at the latest developments in the currency markets today. So it's a fairly quiet day this morning, and most of the moves are following up from Friday's US session, which was during Donald Trump's inauguration speech. In his inauguration speech, Trump spoke a lot about protecting U.S. interests in global trade and also improving America's infrastructure. So it's pretty much what is said already. He didn't really give too much detail on actual policies themselves. But the tone of the speech raised concerns about the impact on global trade for if the U.S. did implement more protectionist policies by raising tariffs and so on, and that had a negative impact on the US dollar. The dollar is down across the board this morning, and that's given other currencies a boost, including emerging market currencies, and even the Mexican peso is up, and we're seeing the euro and the pound rise to multi-week highs. Gold is also benefiting. It hit a 9-week high today. Oil, on the other hand, despite that meeting over the weekend between OPEC and non-OPEC countries, where we had a clear signs that all countries are now are complying with the deal from way back in November and December. We're not seeing too many gains in oil prices this morning due to signs of rising production in the US. So let's start with the dollar-yen pair. We can see the dollar is down. It's basically started moving down since Friday from that inauguration speech during the ceremony. It's currently around 113.50 against the yen, and that's down 1% since Friday's close. Basically, there was a lot of focus on America first. Trump is basically against having American companies mainly producing elsewhere to be imported into the US. He also wants to boost infrastructure across the country, though we still don't know any details on how he's going to go about this. And of course, there's other concerns that even if we do see plans to have significant increase in infrastructure spending, it might take time for it to get approved by Congress and so on. So all of that is basically, we think, less demand for the US currency today. If you look at the dollar index, which measures the US currency against its major counterparts, it's currently at a 6.5-week low. It hit a low of 100.21. It's just slightly firmer currently. The Mexican peso, that's up 2% in fact since Friday, despite those threat of higher trade tariffs with Mexico. So that's which kind of highlights how much the dollar has been hit by the fear of a trade war between the US and its major trading partners. Trump has already taken moves to withdraw the US from the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade negotiations, and he also said that he wants to, as soon as possible, he wants to start renegotiating the North American Free Trade Agreement between Canada and Mexico. So all of that is having a fairly negative impact on the greenback. If we look at the European currencies, both the euro and the pound, they're up since Friday. The euro is at 6.5-week high, 1.075. The pound also hit multi-week highs. It's a 5-week high, 1.2471. We're seeing other factors contributing to sterling's gains this morning. Donald Trump has said that he wants the US and the UK to sign a free trade agreement as soon as, well, maybe not such free trade, but he basically wants to reach a trade agreement with the UK rather swiftly. And also, as a symbolic gesture, the British Prime Minister Theresa May will visit the US later this week, and where she will be the first foreign leader to meet Donald Trump in the White House. Before then, though, we have another risk factor for the UK. The Supreme Court tomorrow will deliver their verdict on whether or not they will overturn the High Court ruling, when the High Court back in November said that British Parliament must be consulted before triggering Article 50. The government is expecting to lose the appeal, so most likely we will see the UK government having to get MPs' approval before triggering Article 50, although that's not likely to delay the Brexit process, because most MPs will likely vote in favour of triggering Article 50. If we move on to the Aussie and the Kiwi, they're fairly flat since Friday. They did dip a little bit and then recover again. The New Zealand dollar is just slightly firmer at 0.7190, while the Australian dollar is currently trading around 0.7550. That's flat on the day. We do have weaker iron ore prices this morning due to an increase in iron ore supply, so that's impacting the Aussie. Also, that we do also have a little bit of risk-off sentiment, so that's also hurting the Australian currency. But later this week we will have key inflation data for both countries, and that could be vital for whether or not the RBA and the AUDNZD will cut rates further over the coming months, because the economies aren't doing too badly, but inflation is currently low in both economies, so it could have quite a big impact on the rate outlook for both the Australia and New Zealand, so that's something to watch out for later in the week. If we move on to commodities, both gold and oil are up since Friday. Oil, though, we can see it's sort of retreated since those highs on Friday. We had that meeting in Vienna between OPEC and non-OPEC, where all countries were happy that with the current arrangement, and it does appear that they are all complying, and they've already made significant cuts to output already in January. But on the other hand, we also had the latest oil rig count out of the United States, where the rig count rose by 29 to 551. That's the highest rig count since November 2015, and it suggests that the high oil prices are leading to a surge in US output, so that's offsetting the cuts from OPEC's. US crude is currently trading just below $53 a barrel. Gold, we can see it's near 9-week highs at currently 1,212. It reached a peak of 1,219 early in the day. So if we do see further declines in dollar, we're likely to see more gains for gold. If you look at today's calendar, before we go, we can see it's a very quiet day. We only have the wholesale trade data out of Canada and consumer confidence, the flash reading for the Eurozone, that's due later in the day. Apart from that, we do have a speech coming up by ECB President Mario Draghi, although it's unlikely he will comment on monetary policy. But apart from that, it's looking like a very quiet session later in the day in Europe and North America. That's it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.